Hi everyone, welcome back to, you know what, I don't even know what number this is, but today we have the episode that everyone's been waiting for. I got a lot of DMs on the podcast Instagram to get a mommy podcast going, and I think I got a really good person to come and give us a podcast all about mommy. And everyone, welcome Karely. Whoop whoop.
Hi Jess, I'm so happy to be here with you.
Thank you for coming. I know that we like rescheduled a couple of times and we were just trying to make everything work, but
We're here.
Okay, what are we gonna get into? I want to start with kind of just how we know each other, because we've known each other for
A long time.
How many?
Elementary school. Right?
Yeah, I think you said kindergarten is when you remember meeting.
Yeah.
I don't remember how we met, but you said kindergarten. I'm like, that sounds about right, because elementary, that's all I remember, us hanging out.
Yeah, I think, we've been friends since forever. I can't even remember.
Okay, sorry, we're back. We had to adjust a little bit with the mics and play around, but yeah, we met elementary school, kind of stayed friends the entire time. High school, well, you didn't finish Battle Mountain. You went to
I graduated from Red Canyon.
Red Canyon. Okay.
But I was in Battle Mountain till 10th grade, I believe so.
Yeah.
And then I left to Mexico, and when I came back, I graduated from Red Canyon.
Yeah, because I remember like high school was kind of where we like drifted, but even like with you being in another school, I feel like we still talked.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever stopped talking, honestly.
No. Well, except when we'll get to like the whole motherhood stuff.
Yes.
Like, life happens and then we kind of stopped for a little bit, but I feel like that's just normal. But yeah, I think it's like us being friends for such a long time. And then you know what I remember? When you first posted that you were pregnant.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh my God. I have to tell my mother.
But remember, I was that person that I was like, I don't want kids ever, ever, ever.
And I think the other part was like, wait, Karely?
Really?
No, but I was really excited and I almost got like teary-eyed because I was like, we were babies and now we're having babies. Well, you were having babies at that time. But obviously we're here to talk about motherhood. Obviously that means you're a mom. I'm a mom. How you said your baby's 3 years now, huh?
He's going to be 3 years in July.
Wait, my baby's also a July baby.
When's your baby's birthday?
The 10th.
Yeah, it was the 12th.
And he was going to be 11.
That's crazy.
That's so cool.
That is so crazy.
Okay. Mine's barely going to be 1 in July. But it's been a wild ride. So how about we just get into it? Because I have a feeling it's going to be a good one. And we're going to let conversation flow. We were just talking about, like, just do your thing. It's like us having combos. This is not a production. We're literally on the floor in the living room trying to film this while the baby naps. So, yeah, we're just going to have girly convos. Like, if you are, having a good time with your girlies. And I think we should start with the ugly parts just to kind of get it out of the way. Because I'm sure, we're talking, again, I feel like I always have to have disclaimers. We're talking from our experiences, and
honestly, yes, being a mom is beautiful, but there's so many.
And there's so much negative or hard that, maybe the positives are a little bit of a smaller portion, but I feel like they're bigger in scale. Some of the things are just, magical, if you will, but disclaimer, this is our experiences, our opinions. Everybody's going to have a different experience, but I feel like a lot of us can relate. I've had conversations with many other moms, and the problem is we are scared to talk about the bad because then you're ungrateful or you're not a good mom or you don't love your kids.
Yes.
And so then we all keep quiet because you don't want to be the first to speak up. And I was brave enough and I spoke up one time and through social media, and another mom was like, oh my God, I feel the same way. And then you have always been very, very open of it is so hard, Jess.
Yeah. I'm super open-minded about this topic, and being a mom is hard. It's hard, and it's ugly
so
sometimes,
hard.
And sometimes you just don't want to be in that position. I mean, it happens. And whoever says that it's not true, they're lying, because...
And if it is true, how the hell?
How? Yes.
How? Yeah, I see some moms, and even lately, I'm like, I don't have that beautiful, and I'm sure maybe nobody does, and if you do, good for you, but just oh my God, motherhood is so beautiful, I'm enjoying it so much, and Yeah, I'm like, when is that gonna happen for me?
Yeah, I totally agree.
Did I mess something up because it's not happening? But yeah, let's get into the ugly. We like before the mics, we just kind of talked a little bit, catched up on life and whatnot. And I was like, I already cried today. Life is overwhelming. Having a baby is hard. Having a toddler is hard. Having a teenager is hard. Like it never stops.
Yeah.
And nobody warned me.
Yeah, it's
But okay, so let's talk about first. You mentioned, being a mom and how you didn't want to have kids. Like that was kind of not in your plans. And I relate a little bit because I was like, I want to just be an individual and live in my house with, if I have a husband by then or whatever. But like that changed for me at some point. But I want to hear how it changed for you and kind of like what that whole time of your life was like.
Well, I still sometimes think that I wasn't meant to be a mom.
Oh, I just said that yesterday.
Yeah, and I actually see myself being a mom, and I honestly think I'm a great mom.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't want kids or anything,
And you are.
The
you
other
are
day, Thiago was throwing a fit because he didn't want to wear the shoes he was wearing. And I was like, God, why did you give me a kid if you know I didn't want any kids? And then I'm like, don't get me wrong, I love him. And like,
Yeah.
But
and hold on, let me stop you right there because that's a perfect point to. I said this once and I felt like I needed to explain myself because it sounds bad, but like exactly what you said, like why did you give me a son or a kid if I didn't want to be a mom? And then you're like, don't get me wrong, I love him. I said something about like I regret my decision on the whole like becoming a mom. I like my husband and I, we planned it. We were like, okay, I think it's just time. We've been married for so long. And we knew it was not going to be easy, but I also didn't know everything that would come with it. And at some point, just like going through everything, I was like, I regret so many of my decisions. But I felt like I needed to explain, and I'm going to explain because it sounds bad.
Yeah.
Like, you love your kids so much,
Of course.
You love your kids so much that you don't regret them.
No.
You don't regret them. But everything before that is just like, oh my God, like, why did I do this? And I like tell my husband, like, if there's another life, if we reincarnate, I'm going to skip the becoming a parent just because I know how hard it is. Obviously, now that we have our babies, you love them to death, but there is a point where you're like, oh, why did I decide to do this?
And you know what? For me, it was different. Like, you planned your pregnancy and all that. And for me, it just happened. Like, I literally was on birth control. And
I forgot about that.
I was on birth control and I had to switch birth control. So between those 2 weeks of me getting, like, the switching and me getting something else, that's when, boom, there goes your...
What?
Yeah. So it wasn't planned at all because I really didn't want kids.
Oh, my God. That's...
Especially because I was not doing good, and like his dad wasn't he wasn't ready either,
Yeah.
So I didn't want him to live what we're living right now.
You're right. That's literally between the birth control switch.
Yeah, literally.
I feel like that's like it was just meant to happen.
Yeah. No, yeah. And it was meant to happen right there because I wasn't doing good. He like literally saved me. My kid saved me.
Yeah.
In so many ways.
Oh, that's so good. I love that. And that's another part too where it gets so hard, but then you see like the lessons that they bring you, and it's just like it changes your life perspective in so many ways. And maybe we'll do that for like the beautiful parts because we're not just gonna talk about all the ugly because again there are some beautiful things, but yeah, like motherhood is just a whole other beast that nobody really tells you how it's really gonna go. Like I just like off the mic, I just told you one of my aunts was like being a mother is cruel, and I just thought that was such a harsh comment. And literally a couple months into motherhood, her comment came up and I finally understood it. I was like, I actually know exactly what she means because it sounded harsh, but I'm like, you know what, she's right. Like I know where she was coming from, and it's not pretty.
No,
but
really not.
Okay, so you had your baby.
So my pregnancy was beautiful just because I felt beautiful.
I did too.
I never had I've never loved myself so much until I was pregnant.
Oh.
My body, my face, my glow, it was perfect.
Yeah.
Otherwise, my pregnancy would have been like the worst one ever. My baby daddy wasn't really involved. He was there, but it was like if he wasn't, you know.
This came up. I remember you telling me the story of the birth story.
Yeah.
Do you want to share that, or do we skip it?
Sure, I can share it. So
Because that would have been, I don't know how I would have handled that at all.
Yeah, I don't even know how. It was
crazy how you just get that strength and you just get through things.
So that night, I remember feeling so exhausted, like literally exhausted. And I was like, this baby's coming. And I told him, you know what, I think I'm going to have him tonight. And he's like, no, you're fine. So he decided to go out with his friends.
Oh, fun.
I was already getting contractions, and I told him before he left. I said, I'm having contractions, so make sure you're like
on your phone
and all that.
Oh, God.
So I started having like really bad contractions, and then all of a sudden I was like, you know what, I just can't handle it anymore. So I start calling him, you know. He doesn't pick up. So I call my doctor, and she's like, congratulations, you're gonna have your baby. Because the contractions were like, what?
Yeah.
5 minutes? I don't remember.
Right, but they were close enough.
So I was like, shit. Like, sorry, excuse my language.
No, we can cuss here. We can cuss here.
I was like, shoot, like, what am I going to do? Should I just drive myself? So guess what? I ended up driving myself to the hospital. I got there, and I was bawling, like, crying.
Of course. I don't even know how... I would have been like, actually send an ambulance.
The nurses told me, is anyone coming? Like, can we call anyone for you? Where's your baby daddy? Like, you shouldn't be asking those questions because you don't know our situation, right? So I was like, no, I'm fine. So, and they made me walk around the hospital for like an hour just because my water hadn't break yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I came back to the room, and they're like, you know what? You're just going to have to go home because nothing's happening. So I was like, okay, fine. She was like, do you want to take an ambulance? And I was like, no, I'll just drive. Thank goodness in that moment, she's like, I'm going to monitor your baby for like 5 more minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And that process of her monitoring him and everything, my water broke.
Oh, God.
So I didn't have to drive back home,
thank God.
By myself. But literally, I was crying.
Yeah, I was like, Mom, I got you.
Yeah. Pobrecito.
Yeah.
But yeah, like at the moment, I was just crying. Yeah, I drove myself to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
He got there. I decided to get that epidural like last minute, so that delayed my pregnancy a lot. I mean, my delivery.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, I was like 7 centimeters, and then I was like, I'm getting that epidural. I don't know why I'm.
Damn, at 7, you like lasted a good time.
Yes, I did. I wanted to be brave, but then I was like, no, why am I making myself suffer? And then he calls me like 3 in the morning. Where are you? And
so what time was it when you drove to the hospital?
Like 12.
Damn.
Yeah. And then he shows up all hungover, all probably drunk still.
No, and then?
Well...
But he was there right when
he was there.
Came out?
Yeah. And while I was getting contractions, he was sleeping. So he wasn't really helping or making me feel good.
Right, like the support wasn't there.
No. So...
Yeah, that's a hard experience.
Yes.
And for your first time.
It was really hard. It was really hard to go through that. And I still think about it, and I'm like, oh, that's horrible. Why would you do that?
How did you do it? You know, like, how did you get the strength to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think, but that's like the thing about motherhood. You just get through things.
Yeah.
And once you're through them, you're like, whoa,
mm-hmm.
How did I do that? Or what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, after having the baby, he disappeared for like a week or so. And I had my mom at home, so...
Wait, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I don't know where he went or...
That is so hard.
But you know what? Like, once you become a mom, I feel like there's something in your brain that just clicks.
Gets you going.
And you're like, you have to.
Yeah. Like, it's the survival stuff. Oh my God, that is so hard. There's just, I mean, I can't even compare that to my situation. Like, complete. And the same thing, you know, like, motherhood comes in all shapes and sizes, and we all have our different struggles. But that's the one thing. When you become a mom, it's like something just clicks. And I remember you actually told me this before I gave birth. Like, once you see your baby, everything just clicks and you just know what to do.
Yeah.
Because I was worried about that. I was like, I decided to become a mom, but sometimes, even to this day, I'm like, oh, is it in me? Am I like mom material? We'll see if the baby goes back to sleep. I was like, am I mom material? But you said once you see them, like, it just clicks and you just know, and it's natural. And a lot of things happen like that. You just get through it.
It's so weird how our brain and like everything works. When you become a mom, you're just like, oh,
okay, let's
mom.
Go. Yeah,
let's do it.
But then one thing too that from my experience I think was hard, because you are in survival mode and you have a newborn, that's your focus. You don't take care of yourself, and then those emotions, I feel like, come back and present themselves later on. Which I think I've had to deal with some of that in the last couple of months. I think things have come up, and for those of you that are just tuning into this episode, I've talked in others about, like, I had a beautiful pregnancy as well. My baby, we had to do a C-section because he was breached, but even that was so smooth. Like, I had the best experience ever. My recovery was amazing, barely felt any pain, but we did get the surprise that our baby was born with a limb difference. And in the hospital, all I remember is good, happy times. Could be the drugs, I don't know. But I just remember, like, or the shock, but just like, oh my God, he's here and he's gonna be able to just thrive in this world, and I'm gonna be so excited to see it and support it. But it wasn't until I got home and
where everything hit you.
Everything hits you because it's like back to your normal life. And what did it for me was the little mittens, so they don't scratch their face. Because when you buy them, at least myself, when I was buying them, you just imagine, like, oh, they're gonna wear them. And then that hit me of, like, well, he's not going to need one of them, Like, little things like that started to present. But you're in survival mode of, the baby comes first, obviously. They're so defenseless and just so tiny. You have to be good for them. You have to, like, I figured out breastfeeding, and, like, that was also very hard. We'll get into that.
Breastfeeding was really hard for me, too.
And there's so many things, and so you're just in that mode of surviving. And then you also, I went through, like, it was summer. So, like, I had family in town. I had a few family members that live here, and they've always been super supportive. They would invite me to things because they know, like, distractions are good. You're just a new mom. Things can get lonely and dark really quick.
Oh, yeah.
And I felt like I had a good distraction, and I was dealing through a lot of it. Like, I obviously cried so many days, so many hours, so many months. But I think at some point you're surviving, you put that in the back burner, and then lately some of those things come up.
Yeah, they hit you.
They start to come up, and you just don't deal with them. I do therapy, and the therapist has taught me that you have to, she says, listen to your body because it's giving you a signal of danger, even with your emotions, not just physical danger. And so sometimes I try to, like, she's like, feel the burn, feel the pain. Sometimes I try to do that if I have the time, but other times I'm like, I just have to bookmark it. I can't feel the pain right now. Like, that's going to be in the back burner, and we'll just let it be. But then things come up in other ways. Like, I think I took a picture the other day, and, like, seeing his limb difference in a picture hit me. It was just like, but I see him every day. And I'm fine with it every day. But it was just like, I don't know, for some reason in the picture, it's just like, I was looking at him through a picture. And so, like, that brought up those things. So it's just like a never ending, you get through it because you're strong. The mama strength is, I think, real. Like, something happens in us and we just go at it.
Definitely.
But we forget that we have to, like,
take care of ourselves.
Listen to the body as things are happening, to your emotions. But yeah, and so did you, because I want to say, I think I dealt with some postpartum depression.
I did too, yeah.
And that, obviously, the situations could definitely play a huge part in that. But even if you have a picture perfect, like, family and everything, your hormones are out of whack.
Oh, yeah.
Everything is crazy and sensitive, but I do think I was dealing with some of that. And even like now I'm kind of like a little uncomfortable just to like talk about it, because again, nobody talks about that stuff. It's like, we just had a baby, like,
You should be happy.
yeah, like, thank God he's healthy, and thank God he doesn't have anything else. And but seriously, like, the postpartum depression,
No, postpartum depression is real.
it happens to everybody.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
not everybody, but it can happen to everybody.
Yeah. I didn't realize I had a postpartum depression. It can go for years, you know that?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know I had depression until like later, you know?
Me too. It wasn't like, oh, I think I'm dealing through this.
Yeah. And like the time I remember one time I was just thinking, and I was like, why do I feel like this?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I was just sad, and I just didn't.
Like, everything is hard.
Everything was
getting
so hard.
out of bed, showering.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you beat yourself up for not doing the things that you're supposed to do.
Yes, that happened to me so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my gosh, you need to cook dinner for the baby. Like, don't give him Gerbers.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Did that happen to you
Oh,
ever?
I still don't give him Gerbers though.
No, I didn't either. But because I would always beat myself up like that.
And now that you say that, it's true. Everybody's like, well, you just wait until you have kids. Because, like, when you don't have them yet, like, in the physical world, you're like, I'm going to do this and that, this and that. And it is possible. But life gets in the way. Life gets in the way. Like, I still have a job. I still have to, like you said, make dinner. I still have to figure all these things out.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, it's like, well, I'm not going to be that perfect
you should have seen when Thiago started going to daycare for the first time, 3 months. They would just let him cry. No, not 3 months, because he was like 6 months when I started working again.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to work in the same daycare he was going to. They would just let him cry. So they had cameras up front. I would walk.
You could see.
I could see him. Well, there I am crying in front of the camera. But honestly, I think it was like
my
horrible
heart.
because whatever, the babysitters, teachers, they weren't.
Yeah.
Like, they were. It was bad.
Yes.
They had that thinking of, oh, if you let him cry, they're going to get used to it. And that's not true.
Let's talk about that. Because maybe the mics can catch it a little bit, because my baby's crying right now. We are doing sleep training, and when I had the consultation with this girl, it's the no crying it out method. Mm-hmm. But they do allow for like a full 10 out of 10 cry for 3 minutes is what they say. And I'm conflicted because, like, through getting a degree in psychology, I read a study and I learned something about babies. The part of your brain that helps you self-soothe doesn't even happen until you're 3-5 years old. Mm-hmm. So you have to be older to be able to do that. And so a lot of people actually think that they're not really self-soothing, they're self-settling, because they're just learning that if they cry, you're just not responding. Mm-hmm. That breaks my heart. And that's something that we're going through right now. My husband and I were talking about, well, I don't like it. I don't like that because I'm thinking that he's learning that if he calls for mom is just not going to respond. And he may stop crying sooner, or he may just not even cry at all anymore. But I can't help myself and think it's because he has learned I'm not responsive. Yeah. You know? And that whole, like, a lot of people think like that. Well, they have to learn. Let them toughen them up.
Yes.
I'm so conflicted with that. I'm like,
Me too. I really am. Like, yes, I do understand. Let him cry a little bit.
Right.
But not, like, literally, Thiago would cry all day in his crib and they wouldn't pick him up.
Oh,
when I would pick him up after work, his little eyes were, like, purple, red.
No.
Like, his cheeks were just, like, you could tell he was crying all day long. I wouldn't even wear makeup to work, Jess, because I would cry with him all day. I couldn't focus on the other kids I was watching because I was thinking of my son. I was calling the classroom all day long. Hey, because he wouldn't eat either. But I feel like they wouldn't try. So we had like a really bad experience with daycare at first, honestly.
Yeah.
It was just horrible. And like my routine going back home after work, it was horrible too. Yeah. Like I would cook dinner, bathe him, just, you know, I had the worst, and that's when I discovered I had a postpartum depression.
Right, like something's going on.
I would put him to bed, go in the shower and just cry.
Yeah.
Cry, and let everything out. Go to sleep, next morning, same routine.
Yeah.
You know? So, yes, postpartum depression is real.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ignore it.
No.
Don't ignore it because it's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad, and it can get really ugly if
Yeah.
you don't get
help.
You don't help yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing, too, is, like, if you have a support system, obviously that helps. I'm thinking I'm going to go grab the baby because I don't think he's going to go to sleep. So, 1 second. Okay. Baby's joined the session, but, so yeah, if you hear him, he's in the background. But, yeah, like you were saying, don't ignore it. It can be hard to, like, even talk to somebody about it because same thing, that, like, well, you're ungrateful if you complain or if you're not happy. Like, how could you not be happy? You just had a baby. Mm-hmm. Like, that was something that I felt like I struggled, not because anybody was telling me that, but almost because it was like I shouldn't complain. Yeah. You know, like.
You know what? I've always been so open-minded with this topic. Like, honestly, I seen girls or whatever, and I'm like, with no kids, and I'm like, don't have kids if you're not ready.
Yeah.
You know? Like, seriously.
Yeah.
Or, like, it's hard. It's hard to be a mom. It's beautiful, but it can get ugly, like we were saying.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's, I don't know how to explain
Me neither.
it, really.
Me neither. And you have to be there.
And don't be afraid, like, to take time for yourself, to take care of yourself. Don't feel guilty. Mom guilt always kills me.
Ugh, I've heard about mom guilt everywhere all the time before becoming a mom. But it truly is until you become one that you're like, it's not like that regular guilt that you know. It's a different kind of guilt.
It's a horrible guilt.
Like, it eats you up. And it could be the baby's maybe he's going to be a podcaster because he's very into all of this. But it eats you up. And even if you're doing something that's, like, good for him, that's guilt. Or if you're doing something good for yourself that you need to refresh yourself, then you have that other guilt. Like, it never ends. And one thing that happened to me, nobody warns me. You love them to a different dimension. I don't even know how to describe it. Yeah. That everything they feel, you feel.
Yes.
And it's like nobody warned me that my literal heart and soul was going to be out walking in this world. Mm-hmm. That hit me hard. It's not just like, oh, I just parent and love him. Mm-hmm. He is a part of me.
Of course.
And I don't know how to handle it. And I obviously, you're not going to want to fix your kids' problems 24/7 because they have to learn. But I was not prepared for that. I was not prepared how deep I was going to feel everything and how much I was going to, like, think about it. Yeah. It just never ends.
Nope.
But, yeah, I had a hard time, like, opening up about some of that stuff. My husband was a huge supporter, and he could support me so much. He's not dealing with postpartum depression, obviously, but because of the surprise we got with his limb difference, obviously we were dealing through that kind of situation, plus
your emotions.
Yeah, being a first-time mom, figuring out how to have a baby, and then on top of that, just him supporting me. So he was kind of my only person that I was really like, oh, I just can't do it today.
And that's awesome. Like, really, I really wish I would have had that. I've always dreamt of, like, my perfect, well, not perfect, because nobody's perfect. Right. But this perfect little family.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I saw myself with my baby daddy forever. Mm-hmm. And I thought of even, like, maybe we'll have more kids. Yes, after he left me, go drive myself to the hospital.
Yeah.
I still did see myself with this man. But just because I never wanted my son to be without a dad.
Yeah. Okay, that's another thing. And that's why I asked you if we could touch on that situation. Because I feel like as a mom, we can get into situations where we're holding on to the wrong people because of that. Mm-hmm. And sometimes those kids not being around certain people is even better.
Yeah. Honestly, like, one time, I was just like, no, he needs to see his mom happy. and it's not going to be with his dad, so we have
Good
to
for
go.
you.
We have to go. I wasn't going to, some people think, oh, you just have to keep trying and trying. No, I don't think
And
like
you
that.
just know when it's time.
Yeah. So I was ready. I lived in Denver by myself. I never had really his support. Yeah, he would watch him for a little bit. But really, no. Like, I've always been...
All you.
All me.
Yeah.
So, and especially in Denver, like, I do have family in Denver, but I didn't really see my cousins or anything. So it was by myself dealing with all this. Dealing with my baby daddy that he was never responsible. Yeah. Dealing with being a first-time mom. Dealing with not feeling happy with myself and just horrible about myself. Yeah. After feeling so perfect, I felt like garbage, I swear.
Me too. Yeah. Because I had a similar pregnancy. I felt so good. Yeah. I felt I didn't have that, you know how people or women like, oh, my body's changing, and I loved it. I loved being pregnant. I miss the belly still to this day. But yeah, after is just like everything crumbles, but you can't because you got to take care of a little baby. And it doesn't end there, not to like scare anyone or discourage, but it really doesn't, because then you're going to shift to a different age with your baby and then new challenges. And like now I'm struggling. You can see him climbing on me. He is all over the place. I struggle balancing work. I'm like, I have to get work done, but I can't. And I struggle with him in his sleep. And so it's like a different kind of struggle. And I can say confidently that I think I'm clear from the postpartum depression, but that doesn't mean that I don't have depressive days or like days full of anxiety. Yeah. Oh God, the anxiety. Like, I wasn't a stranger to anxiety, but it's like a different type of anxiety too. You have new worries that you never thought you could worry about. I was never really like scared of dying. Like, it's gonna happen, okay. But now it like hit me the other day too. I was like, wait, I'm not gonna be with him for his entire life. That's another thing that made me cry the other night. Like, I'm gonna eventually leave him. Like, what? And that's like how life happens, like we're all gonna die, and usually your parents will die first. And so that was different. I was like, wait, I've never thought about death like that.
Why am I crying about this?
Yeah, and so it just never ends, and it gets overwhelming. And
I dropped off my son today for the first time at preschool. And I was so strong going in there, leaving him.
You're like, I got this.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm not even gonna cry. Right in the moment where I like go in my car, I start crying. And so crying hard. And crying and crying. I was like, oh my God. And honestly, I'm anxious right now. Like, I can't wait to go get him.
Karely's like, can we be done here? Did you get everything you needed?
No, but yeah, I mean, it's part of it. It's part of everything, life,
And to that point, too, I feel really grateful that for the most part I can work from home. And you're going to disagree, and I disagree with myself, too. But sometimes I've even, like, told my husband, I think it might be easier to drop off your kids somewhere, because then you're going to struggle, though, with, like, leaving them somewhere. But then when you go to work, you do just work. And then you're going to pick them up, and then you do just mom. I'm having such a hard time doing both. Like, doing mom and work at the same time. And my team is awesome that if I have to have the baby in the meetings, like, they're 100% understand. If I have to click off early, they understand. If I have to turn off my camera, they understand. But just even thinking about, like, what you just said, dropping off your baby somewhere, I just can't. And I've had babysitters here and there, like, if I have to go to a property.
Because I know exactly how you feel. Like, even just thinking about it, you get so anxious. And just like, I would be the same way, especially because I had really bad experience with
the first time.
The first time.
And that's the scary part. You think you're leaving them to a professional, but even nowadays, you hear horror stories left and right of these daycares that you trust your baby's life with. Yeah. To be a mess. And not to shame on anybody that works at the daycare or anything, because it's a very hard job. I worked at a preschool for a few months, and again, not to shame anybody or like, why did you hire me? I don't have any like childcare experience. I had nothing. I think I was working on my associates at that time in psychology, which had really nothing to do with childcare. I had no experience with no kids of my own, and I wanted to do the childcare industry to kind of get my foot in because I'm interested in child psychology. Mm-hmm. So like this would be a good idea for me. I was exhausted. I got slapped by 3-year-olds. It was just so hard, and it was something that you're just making sure everybody's okay.
Yeah.
But then it's 2 people for a whole classroom.
Yeah. I was a preschool teacher for like 8 years, maybe.
8 years? I don't know how you did that.
So when I had my son, like I already knew kind of everything, you know.
How everything went.
Yeah. And then I had him and I was like, okay, no more childcare for me because I couldn't deal with just working with all these kids and then coming home to him, and I was just mentally exhausted, honestly.
Yes. I didn't have kids to come home to, and so that was refreshing, and one of the co-teachers had kids and pretty young. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you go home to then attend to your own kids. Yeah. Like where's your energy? Like, that's so hard. But, okay, so postpartum, I made notes, so make sure I didn't forget anything that I had. What do you think has been the hardest thing for you overall, being a mom?
Being a single mom.
Single mom.
Just...
You're like, I can go on.
Just being a single mom.
That's been the hardest.
Hardest thing.
I couldn't even imagine.
Because I don't have that support at all, you know? And at first, my baby daddy was kind of like in the picture. I mean, he's still in the picture, but he's not in the picture like he should.
The constant, yeah.
Honestly, yeah. Just, I think being a single mom, I have a toddler. I have a terrible 2 horrible 3s. Have you heard of that?
No. I have a horrible 3 and he's not even a year.
Oh my god, Thiago was going through this phase where he thinks he can tell me.
Fun.
He thinks he's right all the time.
Of course. It's his world.
But I think being a single mom has been really hard for me. Just because I've always dreamt of that picture perfect.
Yeah.
And having someone there to support me at all times and just not being alone, because it gets lonely.
Oh
Jess.
my god.
Sometimes I feel like super lonely, and it's not because
you should call me, because I am right there with you.
And it's not because I need a man or someone.
Right.
It's because I'm here with my child by myself.
Yes.
You know, and it gets hard, it gets lonely, and
I get lonely, and I have my husband, and he's super supportive, but he goes to work, and again, like, I feel really lucky that I can stay and work and I can watch him for the most part. It is so lonely.
I don't think I would be able to do that. Work from home and be a mom.
I'm starting to get to the point where I'm thinking even a babysitter for a couple of days might be good.
I think, like, honestly, it's good. It's good for you to take your kid out or like to daycare or whatever,
Have a break, both of us.
Yes, it's good to have a break, and it's good to take, and it's taken me some time for me to know that, because I wanted to be with my child at all times. Mm-hmm. But now, honestly, like, sometimes when I'm out, I started doing yoga again. I started going to the gym again.
Right. Yeah.
When I'm doing that, I feel good about myself. And
I can come home
to my son and not be so stressed about life.
Yes. That part is important.
So take time for yourself. That is very important.
Yes. And you have to balance.
The thing you can do to yourself and to your son, to your family.
Yeah, because if you're good, they're good.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's also, that's very hard too. And I love spending time with my husband, but like, sometimes you just want to talk to other people other than like your spouse, or obviously your babies can't talk back to you. But it gets very lonely.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yours can. He's like, oh, and he's got a lot to say.
He does.
But yeah, it gets very lonely, and I definitely am not very good at doing things for myself. I actually had a eye exam on Saturday, super early in the morning, and because I'm always with my family, my husband just kind of initially thought we're all going. I was like, you know what, actually I'm gonna go on my own, because I had to be there at 8 a.m. It's kind of a drive, 30 minutes. I'm just gonna do it on my own. I'm just gonna go. The baby's gonna wake up right around the time I leave. Like, it's gonna be better this way. And I was like, I'm gonna go to Target and Ulta and have a little time. And so I tried to do that, but TMI, I got my period, and the cramps were killing me. That my Target shopping spree cut short, and I was driving in tears from the pain. I was like, well, so much for like having my me time.
Yeah.
But it's very important. It's
is.
very important to even like talk to other people and meet other moms too. I feel like there's like a different type of friendship with other moms, because you can like, not that you're just gonna talk about being a mom, but like you guys, I feel like we can relate.
There's gonna be a connection.
Oh, he's just giving me a little cuddle. There's gonna be a connection. Yeah. Oh, you have something to say? Okay, what is the other point? What do you think would have, well, I think this is kind of like what you've talked about, like you wish having a partner, because the question was, what do you wish would have been different? Yeah. Or how about this, what do you wish you would have told yourself going through the darkest time? Like, now that you are out of it, in a different place, what would you tell that part of your motherhood?
I don't know. That's a hard one. Probably
you got it.
No, probably I would have. What I would have changed is probably started taking care of myself sooner. Since I started feeling like. Yeah. Like horrible, you know?
Yes.
Because my kid needed me. I mean, I was there with him, but. Right. Still. Like
you're there physically, but you're also battling everything else mentally. I think mine's pretty similar too, because I have pictures, like, it blows my mind how fast they grow. Yes. Like, he's almost gonna be 1, and it blows my mind on how almost I feel like I missed a good chunk of it. I missed a good chunk of the newborn stage, and not because of his limb difference, because, I mean, that was a huge part of it, but no matter if your kid is perfect, physically looks, you know, everything, 10 toes, 10 fingers, it's hard because you're still surviving and it's still your first. Yeah. And I think for me, I would tell myself to just really try to enjoy it, because I have some baby pictures. Some of them I don't even remember. Those pictures, like, damn, I don't remember doing that. Or like, 'cause I don't know, I feel like you're just in this surviving, and and then there's other pictures that actually make me sad, because they take me back to such a dark place. Same. And I think if I just like could tell myself and like have a time machine, just like, everything's gonna be fine. You're gonna feel better.
It gets better.
Yeah, you're gonna feel better, and just enjoy it, because I do feel like I missed out on some of that bliss of like, oh, my newborn. And yeah.
Honestly, I think for me,
you have the dog snuggling you, the baby.
Yeah, honestly, for me, I think I'm very thankful for that I was able to be home with my baby for like 6 months. And then actually it was like, I was with him, like, I don't feel like I missed, like, I don't feel like you. I can relate to that, you know? I feel like time has been like perfect for me, as of me watching him grow and stuff. Now is when I feel like that, though. Now that I'm working and always working and always working, it's and like hard. Taking time for myself. Now sometimes I go home and I'm like, my poor child, like, I haven't seen him all day. He loves his babysitter.
And then you have that mom guilt all over again.
And then I'm like I don't spend enough time with him. Right. Honestly, I think now I feel like that a little bit, that I'm missing out. Yeah. But
those moments.
You know what I've learned? I can't traumatize myself anymore. Yes. I really just can't. I can't traumatize.
That's such a good way to put it.
Yeah, I can't traumatize myself anymore. I can't make my life impossible just thinking that I'm not a good mom, or just thinking that I don't have enough time. Everything happens for a reason. Yeah. Everything's gonna get into place.
Yes, how it should.
We're gonna be fine, and I'm working really hard for us to be good, you know, and stable, and for us to have like a good life in the future.
And you are such a good mom and you always put him first that I highly doubt Thiago will ever be like, oh, I spend a lot of time in daycare.
Yeah.
Like, he's not even going to remember.
No, probably not.
It's going to be like, oh, my mom took me to the park. Because I see that you post all the time, going on little walks.
Out and about with him.
Yes. And, I mean, that's all he cares, to have that quality time. So don't beat yourself up for that. Nobody beat yourselves up for that, okay?
No.
You're all doing great. We talked a little bit of this before the mics, but just kind of like how growing up and your viewpoints maybe like affected you as a mom. And for me, again, like what you said, you kind of have learned that you just don't want to be a mom or like your parents.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So I feel like I just grew up well, my mom and my dad separated when I was like very little, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know. Like,
you just know that you want to do things different.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just the way I don't think she did a bad job or they did a bad job on how they raised me or anything.
You're like, I'm fine. I turned out fine.
Yeah. I honestly think the way I grew up, it just made me who I am right now, honestly.
Yeah.
And a lot of things, it's because of my mom, how she did things.
Right.
And I just don't want to be like her as a mom.
Yeah.
That's it. And she gets really offended with that, but...
You're brave to tell her that in person.
No, it just came out and it wasn't a good idea.
Because I have similar feelings towards that. But I don't know how mine are different. Because, like, same thing. I'm fine. I turned out fine. And my parents were really great. And, you know, they took care of us in their own way, the best they knew how to do. But I do feel like there's been resentment that I've had ever since having my baby and with my mom. I'm not brave enough to be like, hey, you know what? Why did you this and that? Or I don't want to be like you as a mom. And not that she was a bad or mean mom. Like, I'm grateful that we never got, like, beat it or anything like that. My childhood was not like that. But there are so many things I see that I'm like, I'm just not going to do that. Or I'm going to do more of what she couldn't do.
Same.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I feel, too.
Yeah. Damn, maybe I need to have a conversation with my mom about that stuff.
Maybe you do.
Eventually.
You'll feel better about it, about the topic.
You know what? My sister said that. She's like, maybe you just need to clear some things and get it out of your chest.
I don't try talking to her. She's not going to listen to this. I don't try talking to my mom. There's no talking. Like, we get along pretty... Remember my mom and I used to be like best friends? And so I remember... everything changed when I got pregnant and when I moved and everything.
What?
I don't know why.
I remember being like, oh, I wish I could talk to my mom like when we were in high school.
Yeah.
It's like, I wish I could go talk to my mom like that. Or because my mom, we had it backwards. Mm-hmm. My mom and I had such a hard time like when I was in high school. But now, me being an adult, we've just had like a whole different experience and we actually get along now.
Yeah.
But, okay. The beautiful parts. Because we know everything is so hard for being a mommy and everybody's probably like, man, where's the good part?
Right.
Do you guys like being a mom?
Do you like your kids?
Do you love your kids?
No, I love Thiago. I can't imagine myself without my son, and I'm pretty sure you can't imagine your life without him.
Now that's what I mean. Like, once, you know, they're here, you get to know them. Yeah. You wouldn't want it any other day, no. But they are regrets.
They're little regrets. Everything's, like, I don't even know, like, just the feeling of being a mom.
And the way
they do things.
Yes.
Like how they're growing up.
And I'm sure you're experiencing more of it because Alana's just so little still. But having that, like, somebody just kind of, like, love you, look at you, and admire you in a way. Avan started giving kisses. He's just kind of, like, slobbers all over you. And it is the purest, best feeling I've ever felt. I'm like, oh, my God, this kid, like... He's learning intentionally, like, you can kiss somebody and that means something. Yeah. And he'll grab my little face and just, like, go at it. I'm like, I love that.
The sweetest little boy ever. Like, he has the cutest feelings ever, I swear. Like, there's this thing he does, like, he's playing around, and all of a sudden it clicks to him, and he goes and, like, kisses my leg if I'm standing up, or kisses my arm or my cheek or whatever, and he's like, damn, oh, mommy. Like, he tells me he loves me, I don't know how many times a day.
I cannot wait for that.
I swear.
How can that not make you keep going? Right?
I know.
That's the best.
I love having these conversations with him now because, yes, he's 2.5, but he talks off.
And you know, I always thought Thiago was really smart for his age.
You know what I recommend to you, moms? Always read to them. Like, I would read to him all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. And I still do.
Probably helped all his vocabulary he has now.
And another thing is, don't talk to them like...
The baby talk?
Like the baby talk. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Because then they're going to talk like that. Trust me.
Like, or one of our neighbors tried to baby talk Avan, and he hated it. And when he was like barely born, and that's where we discovered he does not like baby talk. Because my mom tried to do it, and he cried. I was like, you need to just talk to him normally.
Yeah. Honestly, they're people. You just have to talk to them like
he
normal
scared
people.
him.
That's what I did. I do baby talk to Thiago, but sometimes not.
Right, like the, oh my goodness, I'm gonna squish you in it. Yeah.
Venga mi amor, and you know, like stuff like that.
Right.
But I'm not always like, Thiago, no hagas eso, mi amor.
Yeah.
That's bad. Like, that's actually, and I think that's why he's talking so much now, because I've always
but he's
talked to him
always
like
talked
an
so
adult.
much.
I always talk to him like an adult. Be like, Thiago,
this and that, this is how it works, and this is what happens. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the first time that I met him, I felt like, whoa, this kid is, like, his body is so tiny, but everything about him was just so mature.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, he just really knows how to talk and how to do, like, everything. He was like a mini adult.
Yeah, he talks
Oh
a
my
lot.
goodness. What does this baby need?
So I just love that, having someone to conversate with. I fight with him all day too. Like, he throws his tantrums and...
Oh, this guy is gonna be the same way.
And guess what? We have, like... I don't need, like, a partner if I have him, you know?
Yeah.
I'm always gonna have him.
Yeah. That's the best part.
I know.
You have, like
you
a little
you
friend.
always have company.
Yes.
Like, hey, dude, let's go to the store. So there we go to the store. Him asking me all these kinds of questions. But, you know?
I actually can't wait for that. I know, like, it's gonna get harder because...
And you always have something to do.
Yeah.
So...
Of course.
Always.
Yeah, but no, I really do think, like, having those little moments. And then, like, when they're younger, like, Avan is just starting to crawl and standing up. Like, when they do little milestones like that, it's just, like, it makes me feel so proud. Not like I'm over here, you know, like, let me teach you how to stand up. But just, like, having him figure things out, I'm just like, oh, my God. That's awesome. And then you see their personality come through.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
I love that.
Yes.
So there are a lot of beautiful things that happen with motherhood.
We did mention a lot of bad stuff, though.
We did, and unfortunately, it's so heavy and there's so much.
Yeah.
And there's so much, and I think there's so much because we bottle it up. You can't talk about it. You can't because then you're ungrateful, and, like, we live in this, like, dark time in our minds because we just have to keep it all in. But I feel like if we were to all just kind of, like, talk about it, open up about it, then nobody would feel like they have to hide so many feelings because it's normal. It's normal if some days you're like, I don't want to be a mom.
Yeah.
I have those days where I'm like, I don't want to be a mom today. And of course, you're obviously going to still be a mom, but it's okay to think that I just don't want to. Oh my goodness, the mics are falling and things are getting crazy over here. Okay. Last couple of things. What do you think being a mom has taught you about yourself?
Probably that I'm, like, so brave.
Ooh, I like that one.
I'm brave. I'm patience now. Like,
yeah, me
crazy.
too. I never...
It has taught me that I can go through anything in life and I will still be able to, like, stay, like, you know,
come out of it and say I did that and I'm stronger than ever.
Yeah.
For me too, I wasn't a very patient person. So definitely for sure patience. I've learned patience, but I've also learned how resilient I am. Like, I have never ever realized how the strong part, yeah, sure. I feel like I'm a pretty strong person. But becoming a mom and everything we've had to go through so far, I'm like, I never really considered myself to be resilient because I've never had, thank God, like, things happened in my life where I had to bounce back from them because they were so bad or whatever. I've had a couple things here and there, but honestly, like, I'm just super resilient. And like you said, if you can get through some of that stuff, all the other stuff just kind of seems minor. It's little, and we just figure it out.
Yeah.
And you're stronger than ever. Sir, can you please go play?
Yeah, there's no giving up as a mom.
There's not.
No.
And you just figure it out. And like right now, we are filming a podcast with a baby that hardly slept. Wants to grab the mic. Okay, last thing. What advice would you give to a mom out there, a new mom, any mommies out there? What is one thing that you would share that you think would help?
What would I say? Just never give up. There's always going to be something that's going to change your life. Besides your kid, obviously.
Yeah.
Just stay strong and go out and love yourself and do yoga. Go to the gym, go for a walk by yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's one of the main things right now. Like, a lot of people just, obviously we're supposed to take serious being a mom, but you also need time for yourself.
You're an individual.
So don't
still.
feel bad leaving your baby, your son, your toddler, whatever, with your mom for a little bit, with your friend, someone you can trust, obviously. And taking some time for your time, just breathing.
Yeah.
Like, go take a breather. Sometimes it's necessary.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're good, then your baby's gonna be good. So think of it like
if you're in a good mood, if you're present. I think I'm gonna take your advice on that for sure, because I've had such a hard time balancing that and giving myself time. Going on walks. Now finally the weather's warmer, because like when he was born, that's all we would do. Going on the walks. Just because honestly, that was like my mental thing. I was like, I need that. Like, I need to get out.
You know, it took me almost 3 years for me to get back into, like,
the things you liked
the things
before.
I like, you know? So, and now that I've started doing the things I like, I feel great. I feel good with myself. I come home, I pick up my child, I'm happy. I cook dinner for him, you know? So it's just really important for you to be good with yourself, taking care of yourself.
Almost like putting yourself first sometimes.
Honestly, I started like 3 weeks ago taking care of myself a lot more, and before that I could see it right now. I was doing really bad emotionally.
Yeah.
Like bad. So take care of yourself, mommies. Like I said, go out for a walk. I don't know, go to the gym. Even
whatever you like.
Whatever you like to do. Because if you're good, your baby's
fill your
gonna
cup.
be good.
Yeah. Fill your cup. One thing I like to add to that, because that was perfectly said, and I'm going to take your advice because I need to do some of that, is don't lose your identity, but I don't mean it in a way that you have to be back to who you were, because I honestly think it's impossible to just go back to who you were before mom life, because you have a baby. You had a kid. Like, everything else is obviously going to change in forever. So, but still don't lose yourself. Still do the things that you want. And I think it's important that we also know and understand we are still individuals. Your identity is not being a mom. You are a mom, obviously, but that's not your identity. You still be yourself. Like you said, do the things that you liked before and take time for yourself.
Yeah, a happy mommy is a happy baby. So
true.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it. I hope this was not so distracting with the baby, because we were hoping he would sleep for longer, but you know what? Mom life.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say mom life for everything.
Mom life, yeah.
Mom life, but...
And honestly, there's so much we, like...
Oh, we can go on and on. And who knows? Maybe, again, I had so many people send me messages when I was asking for requests, like, what do you guys want to listen? What are you into? And so many were like, mom content. So maybe I'll do like another thing on the podcast or on the Instagram, dear_podcast, and maybe I'll ask, hey, what else did we miss or anything that you wanted to do. And maybe we'll do a part 2. Who knows? But I'm so glad we finally got to do this because I know we like rescheduled a couple times and mom life.
Mom life.
Take a shot every time we say mom life.
Imagine.
Drunk.
Yeah.
But this was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, we don't have a production, so have low expectations.
Thank you for having me over.
Of course. Yeah, no, I love this. And I wanted you, because you are comfortable speaking the hard things and owning it.
Yeah.
Because that's something that I was like, oh, I don't want to sound ungrateful, but it's hard. Mom life is hard.
Ignore the BS and be real.
Period. Ooh, we should make this into shirts.
Right.
T-shirts. New merch.
Hashtag
Mom life.
Hashtag mom life.
But anyways, thank you so guys for tuning in. We will head on to the Instagram, so stay tuned for that. If you have any thoughts, ideas, let us know. But yeah, we'll leave all of her info so you can also follow her if you want. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. Episode, I don't even know what number we're on anymore, 11 maybe. But thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next one. Bye.